Hi, everybody. Welcome to Life Stories Podcast, People Helping People. I'm Shara Gosvick, your host, and I'm so glad that you're here. I have my Christmas tree lights up and I'm wearing short sleeves. So, welcome to Texas. This is how it goes here. So, today on the podcast, I speak with Danielle Gletow, who started a nonprofit called One Simple Wish. One Simple Wish grants lots and lots, thousands and thousands and thousands of wishes to children in foster care every day, all year long, all across the nation. It is an incredible program that I'm so glad I got to learn about. Our word of the week this week
It's the word of the week.
is joy. You know, I told Danielle during our conversation that we're very spoiled in this country, and I'm sure you know that. There are a lot of things that these kids ask for that are very simple things that we take for granted. We don't even think twice about running to the store to get or to have in our home or to have extras in our home. The wishes that they receive come directly from the children. Obviously, they work through different foster care agencies throughout the United States, but they ask the kids, what would bring you joy? What would bring you joy? And she mentioned several times, it's sad that she has to do what she's doing, but she's glad she gets to do what she's doing. And I'm glad she gets to do it too, because it puts everything in perspective when we realize how much we really have and how these simple things, these simple wishes these kids have will bring them joy. I hope that you will participate. Get on her website. It's so cool. And the way they have it set up is very easy for you to look for, helping a child in a certain state or helping a child with a certain wish that they have. Her website makes it very easy. And, she said that about half of the wishes that they get each year come around Christmas time. So I hope maybe you'll get on and donate. I mean, you can donate, I think, as simple as $1, but donate money to help go towards these wishes for these kids. I know that you'll be glad that you did, and it will be such a blessing to them. Thank you for listening today. Have a great day.
Hello.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thanks. Sorry, I had to do a little bit of connecting over here.
Oh, that's okay. Well, I thank you for talking to me today. Um, one simple wish stood out to me because, everybody's heard of Make-A-Wish
Mhm.
Foundation, and those are all big, like trips to Hawaii and, big things. But I thought this was so beautiful because for somebody that's not familiar with foster care or has ever had to deal with any of that, um, there's so much we don't know. There's so much I don't know. And so I think what you're doing with this program is incredible because it matters. Like these things matter, even if they're not, big fancy trips, these kids still have needs and things they want to do and want to have. And so I would love for you to tell me why this got started and what exactly you do with this program.
Sure. Yeah. So we started the organization started in 2008, but the idea for it really came a couple of years before that. My husband and I, about a year after we got married, so in 2006, we decided that we wanted to become foster parents here in New Jersey. And we didn't know much at all about the system, kind of like what you were just saying. It wasn't something we were very familiar with. But we did know that we wanted to start our family through adoption, and we had heard about a program called Fost Adopt, which was children that were placed in foster care with typically a primary goal of adoption. That program doesn't exist anymore. And it's a whole other podcast on
Right.
talking about but we decided to become foster parents, and we were just really surprised by everything from the way the children entered the system, showing up at our home kind of all hours with next to nothing, to how difficult it was for us to navigate the system and how difficult it was for the kids being separated from their siblings, from their parents, from their homes, their schools, literally everything that they knew. And, all we wanted to do was just provide them with as much comfort and some semblance of normalcy that we could.
Right.
And some of the cases were a lot more challenging and tragic than others. But all of it we kept coming back to was that regardless, these kids just wanted to be kids.
Yeah.
And, we thought, well, as we started talking about foster care to friends and family, and they didn't know much, they seemed to feel like there wasn't much they could do if they didn't want to be foster parents.
Right.
And I, at the time, was working in a marketing firm. I was developing these really large scale loyalty programs for retailers and pharmaceutical companies. And I thought, there's probably something more I can be doing with my skills to educate people about what's going on in this system, but to also empower them to do something. Because
Yes.
most people wanted to do something,
Right.
even if that something wasn't become a foster parent or become an advocate. And so when kind of lots of things happened, but we had my daughter placed with us. We had a couple of children that were in foster care who came and went. And then my daughter was placed with us. And in the kind of break between the child before her and when she came to us, we had also started to try to get pregnant. And that wasn't going so well. And she came to us on September 17th, which happened to be our wedding anniversary. And
Oh,
and then about 2 weeks after that, I found out that I was pregnant.
of
So
course.
of course, like, right. So we very quickly knew we were going to have this family of four. We were, young and newly married. And so I, on that maternity leave with my daughter, I decided I wanted to create something that was going to make it easier for more people to help more kids. And that's where One Simple Wish was born. It was sitting behind my desk, mapping out this plan to share real stories and
Yeah.
actual needs instead of just allowing the donor to dictate that conversation to say, well, I have this old stuff. Does some kid want it? Rather,
Right.
leading with the child, what would bring you some joy right now? What
Yeah.
what do you need or what do you want? And really to use their own words to guide us. And yeah, it launched in my home in 2008 in just in New Jersey, and it's grown pretty big since then.
I love it. And I love on your website the way you explain, like it's very simple. You explain exactly how it works and what it is. So tell people who are not familiar with this, how exactly this works.
So anyone can go to onesimplewish.org any time of day. It's online, so you can hang there whenever you want. And you can read through the wishes and you could sort them based on lots of things like age of the child, where they're located in the country. You could put in a keyword search. So if you're really interested in football, you could put in football, see if there's any wishes related to that. Once you find a wish, you read a little bit of the backstory from the child and then also a little bit of the wish, why they want this thing. And then you donate the money, the value of that wish. And our team on the back end fulfills that. And we do this over 30,000 times a year. So
Wow.
when people ask me, like, can I just go to the store? Because I think I can get the backpack cheaper. On
Right.
the back end, we actually have a link to the exact item that was requested. And it's important to us that it's not any backpack, it's the backpack
Exactly
that
what they
child asked
wanted.
for. It's
Yeah.
also important to maintain privacy. So and
Hmm.
scalability, we wouldn't be able to do this 30,000 times if we tried to facilitate an individual in one state going and purchasing something
Right.
physically in a store, packing it up, sending it to us. We'd have to quality check it to be
Yeah.
safe and then send it back out to a child. So instead, we handle all the fulfillment ourselves. And we also make sure that the person who delivers that wish, so these wishes come in from a network of community partner agencies, caseworkers, advocates, teachers, grassroots organizations, churches, so that the wish can be delivered by someone the child knows. So it's
Yeah.
not this weird interaction of you who they've never seen before showing up at the house and saying, look, I bought you a bike. It's just,
Right. Right. That is very,
yeah, it's right. It's,
yeah.
I think the idea in some people's heads is like, but it's a nice thing. They should appreciate it. But, think back to being a child. How often did you want to interact with strange adults?
Right.
Next to never. And
Right.
then add in that they've already gone through probably
Yeah.
the most significant trauma of their lives. Separation is inherently traumatic.
Yeah.
And we just want this experience to be about them and their safety and their
Right.
comfort. And so we handle all of that, and the advocate that submitted the wish handles the delivery.
So you said you do it 30,000 times a year. Do y'all have like specific times that you do it, like specific days of the week, or do you just, as needs come in, you're
Yeah,
flipping
there's
the codes?
hundreds of wishes get granted a day, and hundreds of wishes get
Wow.
purchased and sent a day.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
really excited this is coming out. This will air at the beginning of December, and I'm excited because as Christmas is coming up, I think this is pretty important. You know, give some examples of wishes that kids had because I read through them and I thought everybody could be helping with this. This is not
Mhm.
This is not like major stuff. Like, give some examples of things that kids ask for.
Yeah, the wishes themselves can be anything from like $10 and $500 on the site. And
Mhm.
then we also crowdsource for big wishes on social media when
Yeah.
there's something like much more costly. But they're really all of the things, all kids are asking for.
Yeah.
A cool pair of sneakers, makeup kits, art supplies, journals, fun pillow stuffies, bed sets that they actually pick out themselves. So like their own
Yeah.
bedding for older youth. So no one ever ages out of our program. So individuals that are like maybe getting their first apartment, you might see things like small furnishings, rugs,
Yeah.
accent furniture. It really is I think it is just a representation of what any of us going through life in different stages of our lives would have wanted to fill our lives up with fun
Right.
things. And they can also be experiences like, being able to take a shopping trip and buy things that you want for yourself. It also could be going to the movies or an amusement park or visiting some kind of monument or museum. Um, in all of the years we've been doing this, one of the hardest questions to answer is, well, what are the wishes? Because we actually have these posters we bring, these display posters when we do events, and they list about 550 different types of wishes. And that's
Wow.
not even scratching the surface of the
Yeah.
different types of wishes that we have.
Yeah, that's amazing. What do you wish people understood? Because, you were going to be, or you are a foster mom. And then, like me or different people who have not ever had any kind of part of that. What do you wish people knew and understood about the whole foster care system and about these kids that are having to be put in that system?
I mean, first of all, I think it's just that they are just kids, I mean, they're like we all once were. They're unique beings. You really can't summarize them in one definition of a type of
Right.
person.
Yeah.
They're all coming from different circumstances. Foster care in some cases can save a child's life, and in other cases, it can tear it apart.
Yeah.
Um, I think we've gotten better as a country where we're leaning more towards family preservation and we're putting resources in the homes, which you will see on One Simple Wishes website. You'll see wishes for children who are still home with their parents.
Yeah.
And we are providing, they're getting supportive services from a social service agency, and we're providing wishes for them too, because we don't feel like the time that you're allowed to ask for something joyful or something helpful is after your children have been taken away. Sometimes, these parents, oftentimes, they're they're making lots of sacrifices as it is, and so therefore, so are their children in being like their peers. And so giving them the ability to wish as well has been really powerful. And really that's what I, hope people take away from this is that we are all so much more alike than we are different.
Mm.
That quote, I believe it's Maya Angelou, who said it in much more eloquently than I did. It is so true. I mean, we have so many things in common, so many things that we wish for and dream about for ourselves and for our kids are very much alike.
Yeah.
And I wish people did not even think about the term like foster child and instead just this is a child who's going through a crisis right now. And how
Yeah.
can we all show up for them?
A crisis they did not ask for.
Yeah, no, no, yeah, exactly. They didn't ask for it. And at an age where it's really difficult to understand because for so many kids, like this was their normal. I think
Yeah.
about, prior to care, like I think about my own childhood and some of the things that I experienced that growing up, I just thought, well, everybody's parents fight like this, right?
Right.
Everybody's dad does these things to their mom. That's not true.
Right.
But when you're a child, and especially if you don't talk about it, which a lot of kids don't,
Mhm.
all these things seem like your comfort, like that's where you set your comfort level and your expectations of others in
Yeah.
relationships. So, foster care, when a child is coming out of it, can also sometimes be, or coming into it, can also be this really jarring, like, why am I even leaving? When you're used to something being
Yeah.
a certain way, any change in that is going to be difficult, even if
Yeah.
that change is a good.
That's true. How do you get the wishes from the kids? How do the wishes get to
All of the
you?
Yeah, all the wishes come in from this network of agency partners that we have. So right now we partner with about, I think it's close to 2,000 agencies nationwide,
Wow.
and they have their own username and password, and they're able to go to the site at any time, and they're able to enter, they write up a bio once, and then they're able to enter as many wishes as they need to, for the children that they're serving or the young adults that they're serving. And they can do this all year long. We have some parameters, but it's very flexible. And like I said, they're also the ones that then handle the delivery of the item or the experience.
That's awesome. Do y'all do any kind of fundraising or anything to help with granting these wishes, or is it just all from people that get online and donate?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we're fundraising 24/7, right? The website is
Right,
constant
right.
fundraising. I guess it's a little bit more passive because it's just out there, but we do a ton of online campaigns.
Good.
In fact, like I said earlier, we often do like these really big wish campaigns so that people can donate $1, $5, $10 towards something, a need that's much larger. We don't do a lot of, if any, in-person fundraisers. We just find that
Yeah.
the effort involved in organizing that really never matches the result. But we
Right.
do have like corporations and groups that do fundraisers. A couple of kids over the summer, their mom reached out to me and said that she had told her young children about One Simple Wish and these kids having wishes. And her kids wanted to make snow cones and sell them for
Wow.
so they could grant wishes. And it's things like that I also feel like is what's so great about OSW is it's so accessible to everybody. And then it inspires these really cool ideas that
Yeah.
come from the kids themselves. And those kinds of fundraisers are great because everyone can get involved and it's really all about the joyful aspect of what we do.
Yeah.
And those kids, I think those kids raised like close to $2,000.
Oh my goodness, that's
I mean,
amazing.
yeah, people are going and they're seeing what they're doing and they're not just buying
Sure.
a snow cone. They're then, going onto the Venmo and they're adding donations.
Yeah.
So there's people who do fundraisers like that. We also have extraordinary people who put together what's called a wish fund. So a
Mhm.
family can do it, a corporation, a foundation, where they'll give us a larger pool of money and say, use this throughout the year. And they
Right.
can give us parameters like in this state, they can give us no parameters, but they can also say like in this
Yeah.
state, or just for arts and education, or just for health and wellness. And then throughout the year, we give them reports of how their money is which wishes their money is granting. So that's really helpful. And over the years, we've gotten lots more of those. So that helps us
Yeah.
make sure the wishes don't wait too long.
Sure. So I'm sure you have lots of examples of this, but is there a moment or a situation that just stood out to you when you were just so excited to be able to grant a wish?
Yeah, I mean, I would say most days there's at least one. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not, as the ED, I'm not as involved in like the fulfillment or the posting of the wishes every single day, but every
Right.
day my team sends me wishes that stood out to them that they either
Yeah.
would like to be shared on social media or they would like me to share in our email, which we send out once a week. So every day there's at least a couple of wishes
Yeah.
that we read, and I'd say sometimes it's we're so excited we're going to get to do this, and other times it is heartbreaking
Yeah.
that we have to do this.
Right.
And in fact, just yesterday we received four wishes from one of our partners in Virginia, and she asked if we could help expedite the granting and fulfillment of these wishes for young children, I believe that between the ages of 2 and 13, who sadly witnessed the death of their mother, a
Mm.
violent death. And they had been taken into kinship care. And she said, they really have nothing. Do you
Oh
think that you could
gosh.
put their wishes up? And we put up a wish for each child for $250 so that they could go shopping and get clothing and shoes for
Sure.
them right away. And because it's kinship care, it's a little bit different in terms of the support the state would provide
Mm.
in this particular state. And we put it up on social media and said, like, we're going to set the goal at $1,000 for the four kids. And it raised over $6,000.
Wow. That's
So now that
amazing.
money is being held for all the
Yeah.
children, they have the ability to utilize it through this worker, through this advocate over the course of the next several months. And so there's lots of other needs that they'll get to fill. So I know that the
Yeah.
family that is supporting them didn't have beds and mattresses for the kids. So I think they're getting
Wow.
bunk bed sets and it's going to really be an extraordinary support.
Yeah.
And it's, it's reading things like that. I wouldn't say I'm excited to be able to do that, but I
Right.
certainly am grateful that we have this community.
Yeah.
Um, of course, you wish we didn't have to have
Right.
that kind of need out there, but it's wonderful that we continuously go to our community and say, this is what's going on, can you help? And every time they show up,
Yeah.
it's been extraordinary to watch it grow.
I can imagine. And like I said in the beginning, there's probably a lot of people that want to help. We talked about this that don't know how. And I don't know if people realize how powerful it is, even to donate, this much money. This is all I can do. That's still powerful. We are so spoiled in this country. And these wishes that these kids are asking for are not extraordinary things that we just take for granted every day. They're just, they are simple things, but to them, they're powerful. And so I love what you're doing. I have some ideas of things I want to look for to donate on there, especially as we're getting closer to Christmas. I'm excited. I'm excited to be able to share this. Is there anything else I didn't ask that you want to tell me?
I just said around the holidays, we have an extreme need. We go, so to kind of put it in perspective, there's about 30,000 wishes granted a year, about 15,000 of them around the holiday season.
Oh,
So half
wow.
of the wishes that are granted occur within that November, December
Yeah,
time period. So this is a great time for people to go onto the site and find a wish or to make a donation towards wishes. There's that option at checkout as well, where you can just donate $5 or a
sure.
dollar or whatever you want to give. And I encourage people, to do that or to create a giving page, which can be done by an individual, can be done by a corporation, a family. Um, we can set them up for you in minutes, and it's essentially an opportunity for you to select like a curated set of wishes and share them with friends and family or coworkers, or your employees, and encourage them to go and grant wishes. We have a lot of companies who do this at the holidays, and then they match
Yeah.
the donations.
Oh,
So
that's
that's pretty
great.
cool. Yeah. So if like
Yeah.
$11,000 in wishes get granted, they match it with $11,000. And because
Wow.
this is, a nonprofit is still a business. And
Right.
I tell people all the time to go easy on people who work for nonprofits.
Yes.
Stop scrutinizing their salaries, stop
Right.
scrutinizing. I mean, sure, if they're making $1 million a year, I can understand you having a bit of a concern with that. But,
Yeah.
real skilled, dedicated professionals should be compensated in this space in the same way you're okay with them being
Right.
compensated as a lawyer or an
Yeah.
accountant. It's a skill. It's not just a nice person doing a nice thing. There's a lot of
Right. It's
work.
a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, a lot of
Yeah.
logistics, a lot of management. And, I think that this is, it's nice in 16 years to have seen the shift where people aren't messaging me and saying, I want to make a donation, but I want to make sure none of it goes to your salary.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, would you ever walk into Starbucks and say, like, I just want to pay for the beans and the water? I
Right.
don't want to pay for your marketing or your CEO or your stockholders. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure most of us wouldn't want to do that, but you can't choose that. You can't
Right.
say you don't want to pay for HR, marketing, logistics, operations, supply chain management. Like you just go in and you pay $6 for coffee. And I think, why is there so much scrutiny on
Yeah.
nonprofits and so little on big corporations? So
Right.
we're not a big corporation. We only have 5 people that are
Wow.
managing 30,000 wishes across
Oh,
the
my
country,
goodness.
2,000 partners. So we do our best to be really efficient, like I said, efficient, scalable.
Yeah.
But I encourage people, like, this is the time of year, and then to spread the word. Don't assume that
Sure.
because you did something, other people know about it. Like, go and tell more people, because that's how OSW has grown. This is a community of over 26,000 wish granters.
Wow.
So
I love
it's
that.
like, right, and imagine, like, that's just really scratching the surface of the adult
Yeah.
population in our country. So we've
Yeah.
got a long way to go.
This is so important. It's just so important. And I was very excited to find it, but I'm really happy I got to talk to you and learn more about it. And I'm excited to share. Like I said, before Christmas, it'll be on repeat so I can remind people this is a great way to help kids all over the country, with one simple wish. Lots of simple wishes, but
Yeah,
it's
lots
very
of stuff.
exciting.
Yeah, thank you so much. I love sharing our story, and I love how much it brings people together. And this is the perfect
Absolutely.
time of year for that. So I appreciate
Absolutely.
you
Yeah.
contacting us to learn more.
Sure. Well, thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful day.
You too. Thank you so
Okay.
much. Have a good
Bye.
one. Bye.